Welcome back to another episode of the Gaming Coffee Club, and happy Halloween, depending on when you're listening to this and when this goes live. It was Halloween recently, or last night, so we'll see when this goes up. But we've a ton of stuff to talk about on this week's episode, so grab yourself a brew, sit back, and relax as we're going to discuss a potential massive sequel to a huge game franchise which might be heading our way soon. Also, more massive Xbox games coming to PlayStation, and Kojima potentially making a massive movie franchise into a game, and a whole bunch of other gaming updates. Let's dive straight into it. So first off, we're over to the gamer, and yes, Valve is rumoured to be working on the Half-Life 3 trailer right now. My word, how long have everyone in the gaming world being just begging for Half-Life 3? I remember at some point people were picketing outside Valve's offices. There's a really funny picture with Gabe Newell and someone outside saying, "Give us Half-Life 3." I'm pretty sure that's what it says on the person's cardboard sign. The rumours have been swirling for a little while now that Half-Life 3 is actively in development. And now we're getting this news here from reputable Valve reporter Tyler McVicker. And he's saying the word on the street is the Half-Life 3 trailer is currently in production and might drop as soon as November. Wow. So he said here, let's tentatively get excited for November. McVicker said, let's mellow out. Let's be very chill about a possible thing happening soon. Maybe, who knows? The current rumour going around is that work on the trailer is occurring. Wow, okay. So, very interesting rumour here. I wanted to talk about this because this is fun, and if it does happen, this will be massive. What a year 2025 will be for gaming if out of nowhere Half-Life 3 drops. What? Who would have had that on their bingo card? Also, are Valve maybe going to launch this alongside some new hardware? Is there maybe going to be the new, Steam Deck 2? Or, like I've said for a while, which I think is going to happen, is Xbox are going to leave and exit the console marketplace, and you know who's going to just swoop in? Steam are going to have another one of their Steam boxes ready to go. Could they be launching that? Will it be something as simple as just a new controller, a new VR headset? I don't know. But this looks very, very interesting. As they say, if a new trailer drops in November, expect Half-Life 3 to follow close behind. So that could be this year or early 2026. Wow. The article goes on to say, since Valve isn't a publicly traded company, it could theoretically sit on Half-Life 3 for as long as it needs to polish and polish and polish, like Nintendo often does with its flagship titles. Wow, a lot is riding on Half-Life 3. It wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. But if a trailer is coming, and if Valve's track record is anything to go by, Half-Life 3 won't be far behind. Wow, what do we think about this, people? I mean, when did Half-Life 2 last launch? I mean, I know we had Black Mesa as well, but let's just talk about mainline franchise entry. So 2024. So yeah, over 20 years ago. Wow. Jeez. So Half-Life 3, another big question. If this is real, would this be coming to PlayStation 5, or would it be an exclusive to, Steam? Who knows? I mean, years ago we did get Half-Life the Orange Box. That did launch on PS2, I think it was, and Xbox 360. I've got a copy of it for my 360 over there. So who knows? Maybe they will launch it on PlayStation. But this is very interesting, and take this with a huge, huge grain of salt, people. But I just wanted to start the show with something fun, which probably a lot of you will be like, what? Murray, get out of here. No way this will be happening. But there has been a lot of rumours for a little while now that something is happening behind the scenes on Half-Life 3. What would Half-Life 3 even look like at this point? When you think back to Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 1, They were so revolutionary just in the first person shooter genre with, the story built around it. It really was groundbreaking stuff. So what is Half-Life 3 going to involve? If it is real, sound off in the comments. Let me know if this is something you'd like to see, what you think this could be, if it's real. And would you like to see this on PlayStation, on the consoles? Very interesting stuff. I will be keeping a close eye on this, and I'll be bringing you updates here on the Gaming Coffee Club if anything else starts to leak out about this. But this is a fun one. Now moving on to Halo, the last bastion of Xbox exclusives, which is now fallen and is coming to PlayStation 5. As if that wasn't enough, we've now got even more insight into what the future of Halo looks like on PlayStation 5. So Halo Studios' strategy for Master Chief is beginning to emerge here. So we've got a new tweet from Halo Leaks over on Twitter. And very interesting here that Halo 2 and Halo 3 are being remade. Yes, they'll have sprint, no multiplayer, only campaign, full remakes, just like we see with Halo Campaign Evolved. So this is cool. Halo 2 and Halo 3, absolutely awesome games. One thing that does jump out though, that's a bit of a shame, in particular for me, Halo 3 was peak multiplayer back in the day. It'd be great to have that experience on PlayStation 5 again, but that is not happening. Why is that? Well, the tweet goes on to say multiplayer is going to be Halo 7. So it looks like they're using these 3 classic games, they're giving them the full new lick of paint, full remakes, get them out on Xbox, on PlayStation, on PC, I think they're going as well, just everywhere to try and generate a bit of interest back in the Halo franchise, try and revive it, because let's be real, it is kind of dead. Microsoft have just handled it so poorly over the recent years. Try and generate this interest, bit of a groundswell, and then when Halo 7 lands, which I assume they're working on currently also, that will be the full game with campaign as you'd expect, and also multiplayer. And the hope is that everyone will funnel to Halo 7. It'll be a roaring success. The multiplayer will be amazing as well. But there's also these rumors that are going about that Halo Studios is working on a standalone live service multiplayer game. Now, is that also paired up with Halo 7, like we've seen, Call of Duty do with Warzone, for example, and what Battlefield is currently doing, which we'll talk about later on in the show? I don't know. It does kind of make sense to me. I guess it is a good approach, a good strategy. People who have played Halo previously will jump at this and pick this up. I'm excited to play Halo Campaign Evolved on my PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm not going to lie. But something inside me makes me wonder, wouldn't they have been as well just releasing, the Master Chief Collection, which includes all the games, which is, already really popular and good, and it has the multiplayer as well. Just fire that all out. Maybe they're just really worried about fragmenting the user base when it comes to multiplayer and live service. That's why these are just campaigns, and multiplayer will come when it's the fully fledged new game. Kind of like, this is a page out of the playbook of Call of Duty, actually, because they re-released Modern Warfare 4 and then Modern Warfare, I said Modern Warfare 4, it wasn't, it was Modern Warfare, it was Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and then Modern Warfare 2, but they only launched them with the campaigns. There was no multiplayer included because they did not want, people who may play the new game, which whatever that was at the time, the new Black Ops or Advanced Warfare or whatever it was, that they may play the multiplayer of the older games instead of the new games. So they did not want to fragment the user base. So I guess they're trying this again. And I guess it does make sense, but it might not be to everyone's approval. A lot of people would love to dive into multiplayer on these when they launch. Good news though, Halo 2 and Halo 3 full remakes. Is this something you're excited about? Let me know. Sound off. Which one are you most excited to play about? Do you have any history with Halo, or are you going in new to this franchise? Speaking of Battle Royale, another big one has just dropped and it's free to play for everyone, and this time it is Battlefield's turn at the Battle Royale genre. It is available just now to check out. I have jumped in and it is called RedSec and it's free to play. You can download this. You do not need to own Battlefield 6. And this is their attempt, I guess, to take on Call of Duty and Warzone. What do I make of it? I have played, I think, only 4 games. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was good fun. It did remind me of Warzone when it first launched. And also, what was the Call of Duty Battle Royale before that, which came paired up with one of the Black Ops games? I think it was called Blackout, and it kind of reminds me of that. So it was nice and not full of crazy skins and stuff like that. This was not like Call of Fortnite, as I refer to Warzone as. It's not just a battle royale mode. There's gauntlet mode, which is a round-based elimination mode, and it kind of feels like some of the multiplayer modes from the actual, Battlefield games. There's also Battle Royale Initiation, which is built for new players for you to, get up to speed and learn what's going on. So this is a much smaller version of the main map and 48 players maximum, and there's a bunch of bots as well. So that's a good one to jump in and test out to see what you think about it. But it's proven popular. A lot of streamers have picked this up. They're streaming this game on Twitch and stuff like that. It is a fun game. You've got your classes to pick as well. Assault, Engineer, Support, Recon. Well worth checking out if you want something a little bit different from Call of Duty Warzone or Fortnite, or maybe just you're a Battlefield fan. And one other thing that's cool, there is still a whole bunch of damage, which is vintage Battlefield. By that I mean you run into a building and someone can blow up the building. So it is just a lot of fun. Well worth checking out for free on your PlayStation right now. Our next story is around a massive update, which looks like it's on the way for PlayStation Portal. And the evidence for this takes us over to Reddit, where we've got Get the Wets On, which was the first post I think I saw, which basically called out this potential update. And they grabbed a screenshot in the PlayStation Store on the PlayStation app. And if you're watching this, you'll be able to see the circled piece of text. But if not, you're listening. What it says under the add to cart button for deliver at all costs is the game here. It says buy this game and then stream and play instantly on PS Portal or PS5 only with PlayStation Plus Premium. So what does this mean? Well, this looks like Sony is gearing up to allow you to play games which you have purchased and own, which are not part of the PlayStation Plus cloud streaming beta library or the cloud game catalog. Play them on your portal. So this is the example here. We've got deliver at all costs. That is not on the PlayStation Plus cloud streaming beta right now. You could buy this if this was live. This is theoretical to let you know what this will be like in the future. You could go add to cart, buy this, and then grab your PlayStation Portal and then play it there straight from the cloud. How cool is that? So this was the first piece of evidence we had about this. Since then, we've seen more. So there's another post I noticed that went up today, and we've got Legitimate Gap. And they have put up here, it's Phasmophobia, and the same message has appeared, but this time it is, I think they already own this game because it says download to console is the button which is available instead of clicking purchase. Then underneath it says stream and play instantly on PS Portal or PS5 only with PlayStation Plus Premium. And I think they've got another image up here as well. Yeah, there's another game here, Fears to Fathom, I think it's called. And the exact same message appears under the download to console or the purchase button. Wow. Very, very interesting. So these are both on the UK store, and I'm in the UK, and PlayStation Plus Premium allows you to access the PlayStation Plus cloud streaming beta, so you can stream certain games from the cloud to your portal. This update would allow you to buy games which are not included in, the PlayStation Plus catalog, the PlayStation Plus cloud streaming beta, and still stream them from the cloud. I think Xbox currently does this with some games you own if you have Game Pass Ultimate. So this looks like the next step for the portal and the next evolution, which makes this an even better standalone streaming device. So for people who do not own a PlayStation 5, think about if, Astrobot was included in this. I think this will take a while to roll out across games. I also think they'll probably only include possibly PS5 games in this. But think about, you don't have a PlayStation 5, you have a Portal, Astrobot comes out, you want to play Astrobot or Ghost of Yotai, you just buy them via the app and then you can play them via the cloud on your Portal without having a PlayStation 5. Currently, if you wanted to do that with these new games, you need to buy them, download them to your PlayStation 5 console, and then play them via remote play. This cuts that part out. You can just play them straight from the cloud. You don't need a PS5 and you don't need to use remote play. Pretty freaking cool. Now, when could this happen? I have a theory. I think it will be in November 2025. Why do I say that? Well, it's the 2-year anniversary since the PlayStation Portal was launched, because the PlayStation Portal was launched on the 15th of November 2023. Wow, can you believe that? It's been out for a little while now. And after 1 year of it being on the market, we got the big update, which was access to the cloud streaming beta, which was a game changer and absolutely fantastic for regions which have this available. I know a lot of you out there watching in certain regions in Asia, or like over in Australia and New Zealand, you still don't have access, which sucks. Hopefully you will get access soon. Fingers crossed for you, and if anything changes, I will bring an update to you here on the channel. But that was after 1 year. Now, after 2 years, I think we will get this update. And if they drop this update in November time, think about it, it's just perfect timing for the holiday season, for more people potentially wanting to pick up a Portal at Christmas as a gift for themselves, or for their partner or their kids or something like that. So this could be massive. Who's excited about this? Let me know in the comments. Our next story covers off one of the big shooters we've not really spoke about so far in this episode. We've spoken about Half-Life, we've spoken about Halo, Battlefield. Now it's Call of Duty's turn, but it's not a game. Yes, after 22 games, over 22 years, the live-action Call of Duty movie is finally moving forward, with Deepwater Horizon director and Yellowstone creator at the helm. Peter Berg will direct from a script penned by Taylor Sheridan, GamesRadar.com is reporting. The reason I wanted to bring this up, I just found this kind of interesting. What is going to make this unique or stand out? I guess Call of Duty is like the biggest game every year. It's the same as FIFA and EAFC. However, is this just going to be a generic war movie? Or could we get some cool storylines focusing on some of the characters from the franchise? Let's think who we got. You've got like Ghost and Price and Soap McTavish. That could be cool. Hopefully they do something unique and interesting here, and it helps the Call of Duty franchise move forward. I feel there's a fair bit of Call of Duty stagnation and burnout now. I had been calling for the franchise taking a bit of a break instead of launching a game every year. Just, maybe go to 2 or 3 years and do something really special and different. They're just on this production line of churning out games which seem really quite samey now. And also Warzone, like I mentioned before, becoming Call of Fortnite is just not my bag. They've lost what made it special. Now they've got a big adversary with Battlefield 6 doing really well, and they've now just launched their Warzone competitor with RedSec. So this is going to be interesting. The movie, they've got some good people involved in it. Hopefully it is very good, and we have a good Call of Duty movie to look forward to, as this looks like it is the latest video game franchise making the jump over to the big screen, which also got me thinking, what game would I love to see go over to the big screen? Honestly, in a weird way, and I know there was a movie years ago about it and it wasn't very good, but I would really like to see a Tekken video game done well, a Tekken movie done well, sorry. The reason I say that is because the actual Mishima family storyline throughout the games, in particular if you just even take the first 3 games, it is fantastic. Someone could surely pen that into an absolutely killer movie. That's my take. I could probably pick a whole bunch more actually. Another one would be Metal Gear Solid. Damn, I'd love to see that as a movie. That would be freaking awesome. Anyways, let me know what video game franchise which hasn't been made into a movie yet would you like to see made into a movie? Sound off in the comments. Now, speaking of movies, we're talking about Hideo Kojima now, and we're over at Time Extension, and I thought this was a really good article to bring up because there had been rumours over the past week or so and news articles making the rounds saying that the Wachowskis had approached, so that's the creators and directors of the Matrix movies, had approached Kojima about making a game for the Matrix, and apparently he just said flat out no. It's quite a funny story the way they pitched it, as if they were pitching him all this stuff to, do the Matrix game, and it was going through an interpreter, and he just said no and kind of walked out of the room. So I think a lot of that was fabricated and not true. Since then, Kojima has actually tweeted his side of the story in full, and I'm just going to read this out. So this is pretty good. He said here, I was surprised to see on social media that the Wachowski sisters had offered me a Matrix game project back in 1999. In all these 26 years, no one ever told me such a conversation had taken place. At the time, we were mutual fans and exchanged emails. The Matrix hadn't been released in Japan yet, but I had already seen it in theatres in the US and at a preview screening when the Wachowskis came to Japan for promotion. I believe I met them 3 times. In the morning, we had a Famitsu interview in Shinjuku. That time, Jeff Darrow joined us for the talk session. In the afternoon, they were invited to the headquarters of Konami's CS division. Back then, I was vice president of KCE Japan, a wholly owned subsidiary. When I arrived at the headquarters, their meeting with Mr. Kitawe, the head of the CS division, had just ended. I joined them afterwards and we chatted for about an hour without an interpreter. Aki wasn't even there. I think John Gaeta, the visual effects supervisor, was also present. That evening, I attended the premiere screening and party where I also met Joe Silver. Even then, there was no mention of an offer. At that time, I was already extremely busy with Metal Gear Solid 2 and probably couldn't have accepted the offer right away. But if someone had told me, maybe there could have been a way to make it work. Now that got me thinking. The Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 tech demo, which is just fantastic. I love just checking it out on my Portal all the time or on my PS5 on the big screen. It looks amazing. Imagine we got Kojima making a new game for the Matrix with that technology. I think that would just fly off shelves and be one of the best sellers like ever. Why are they not making this happen? They really, really should. Plus, I mean, the Matrix, I know the first Matrix to me is just god tier, fantastic movie. I really like the second one. Third one, okay, not so much. The most recent one, I can't even remember what it was called. It came out a few years ago, was just terrible. Like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It was so bad. And supposedly they're making another one. So let's just cancel them out, forget about them, and go back to the original trilogy and let Hideo Kojima make a movie using all this Unreal Engine 5 tech, or hell, even his Decima engine. It just looks amazing. Just let this man cook on a game like that. And I don't think it needs to be a huge, massive game like Death Stranding. Give us a more, constrained package that could be like a, 12 to 20 hour game, single player story game. I think that would be fantastic. Is that something you'd like to see? I know I would, and I've got my fingers crossed that because this story is doing the rounds and been getting a lot of press recently, something maybe happens with this. Next up, we've got a little bit of Sony business news here, and they have basically ruled out acquiring Batman and Mortal Kombat maker Warner Brothers. So currently right now, Warner Brothers has basically put itself up for sale. So last week, Warner Brothers revealed that they had initiated a review of strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value. So this is them basically thinking, could they sell it off as one whole company or sell off parts of it? This caused some rumors to circulate that Sony might be interested in buying the firm. So first off, what interests us from a video game point of view, they would then own franchises like Mortal Kombat. You had the Batman Arkham series, Hogwarts Legacy. There's a lot of stuff there, the DC franchises. That could be really, really powerful and important for Sony going forward. And then Sony, as we know as well, with Sony Pictures and their music, there's a whole bunch of other stuff which you think would interest them in a Warner Brothers deal, with all Warner Brothers movies and their music division also. However, Sony says it's not interested in an acquisition. Speaking to Nikkei, Sony CEO Hiroki Totoki said, right now we don't want to do a big Hollywood M&A deal, that's mergers and acquisitions deal. We want to build a solid base in our strengths of anime and games. Very interesting. I do think some of the elements of Warner Brothers could slot right in and be really useful for PlayStation going forward. Heck, I would rather they bought Warner Brothers gaming division than Bungie, which just seems to be like one of the worst purchases in history. Like, nothing good seems to have come from that. Would you like to have seen this? I would. I love Mortal Kombat, and DC. I prefer DC comics to Marvel comics. So yeah, I think it'd be cool seeing some. I mean, Sony already are doing amazing with Spider-Man. Look at the games that they have delivered for those for that franchise. Imagine having the Warner Brothers DC slate of characters at your disposal to create new franchises with. New game franchises. It would be very, very cool. But it looks like it's not going to happen just now. We'll keep an eye on this one as it goes forward, because you never know. CEOs sometimes say black when they mean white, so they might have an interest in some of this and they're just not wanting to let on. However, let's get on to something more important. Our Gaming Coffee Club question of the week. Because there was the rumours around this big update coming to the PlayStation Portal where you could buy digital games and then stream them straight from the cloud, it got me thinking about our Gaming Coffee Club question of the week, which became this. Would anyone like to see a genuine handheld from Sony, like a new Vita? What I mean by this is a truly portable device you can actually fit in your pocket, because all handhelds these days are huge. I don't mean a separate game library though. I just mean something with the same form factor that can play the same games as the home console, even if it is at a much lower resolution. I know I'd love something super portable like that, but I feel I'll need to stick with my PlayStation Vita and PSP for that for the foreseeable future. Make sure you answer for your chance to be featured in this week's podcast. So we got a ton of thumbs up and a ton of responses. Let's dive into some of them right now. The first comment, we have Turtles Chowder here saying, I know it's not super portable, but I would prefer a device identical to the PlayStation Portal, just with the ability to natively play games from the device like you just explained. I'm not going to argue with that. I know I was talking about a smaller, more portable device here, but I think a lot of people, including myself, would love that. I sometimes wonder if the Portal, with the shape of it, if you look at the back where it's got that kind of swooping back plate where you plug in your USB-C charge cable, I almost wonder if that's shaped perfectly that you could click on, an add-on which actually has hardware in it to support playing games natively. So instead of getting a new device, there's like an add-on you plug into the back, into the USB-C port, and it gives it the power to, play some games locally. I don't know why, I've just thought that for a while, just because of the shape. It's a very nice, smooth back to the device, which gives a fair bit of room to click something onto, which would just take up I guess, the room of the screen. Have a look at your Portal and see if you agree with what I'm talking about. But yep, I agree, Turtles Chowder. Heck, who knows what this new PlayStation 6 handheld is going to look like. It can't be an absolute beast. Surely it's got to be similar form factor to the Portal in some way. I guess the similar aspect has got to be the DualSense controllers. That's now such a unique selling point for Sony. I don't think they would drop that. However, the part in the middle, it might be a chonky boy. It might not be as, slim as the Portal is. Only time will tell, but we will keep you posted here on the channel. Next up, we've got Christopher Murphy saying, I've always wanted a new Sony handheld. Portal is good, but to have something like the Vita, but a bit more powerful would be awesome. Only thing I don't like is Sony give up supporting these things early if they don't sell like hotcakes straight away. Spot on, I agree. That was the fate which I guess happened to the Vita, wasn't it? They spread themselves too thin. It did not sell as well as they would have hoped. And then they're also trying to make a success of the PS4 at that time. That's that thing with the split game libraries, I think, is so impactful. Also, they had some silly decisions with the Vita. Let's get real. The proprietary storage was so expensive and just such a bad move by Sony. They keep doing that because I get it. They're a hardware company. They want to sell all their own hardware. However, I think that also played a big part in the Vita not being as successful. Next up, we've got Joseph LeBron Rolando saying, one of the reasons why I enjoy the Switch Lite, it's one of the consoles that lets me play not just Nintendo games, but also third-party games. I can fit it into my pocket. I do wish Sony and Xbox made a console like that. Just saying. Also hope they make a Switch Lite 2. I think there will be a Switch Lite 2. I think that's in the works. But yep, portable handhelds are also popular, so I agree with you there, Joseph. Now we've got a differing approach here where Slightly Tired has said they're never going away from streaming, even though I'd love a native handheld. Interesting. I disagree. I think streaming will still be there, but I think the native handheld for the PS6 is in the works. Now, there's so many other comments here. I really can't go through them all here. Otherwise, this whole podcast will just be me chatting to you about all your comments here. However, we've got one here from Don Herbert, which is kind of similar to like what I said. What about an external hard drive for the Portal that has your digital game stored on it so you could play it natively on the Portal instead of either streaming or tethering to your PS5? I know it's probably a little more complicated than that, but that would be a great stable platform for remote gaming. Now, yes, it would. However, the Portal is like a really, really low powered, basically like an Android tablet. It cannot run these games locally. A while ago, we did report on the channel, someone hacked the PlayStation Portal and they did manage to get, I think it was some PSP games running on it or PS2 games. I think it was PSP. They got one of the old Grand Theft Autos running on it. That is pretty much as far as you can push it. So that is why I think if they did have an add-on which clicked onto the Portal, it would need to have some hardware in it. So more GPU power, CPU. It would basically be the power unit for allowing the Portal to run games and storage as well, because there's really not a lot of storage in the Portal as it is just now. And then we've actually got Hellboy here said, Sony has already mentioned a separate portable disk drive. I think that's a great idea. It offers a good balance between battery life and disk drive functionality and provides access to PS4 and PS5 games. Okay, I've never heard of that, but sign me up. That would be cool. I don't know how they would do that. I mean, portable disk drive is going back. That feels like throwback to the 90s. I wish there was a way that they could take your game and there was some sort of QR code, or I don't even know, you do some sort of check-in or handshake, you put the disc into your machine and it allows you access to a digital version of it for like a week or two, and you need to check in so you've not, sold it and you're keeping the digital version yourself. Surely there's got to be a way around this. Gamer Thumb saying, I prefer the bigger screen as my vision isn't that great. I can manage just fine on the Portal, but on the PSP, I had a hard time. But that's just me. No, I agree with that, buddy, as well. I guess with the smaller screen, a lot of these new games, modern UIs, would probably not fit very well. And I've just clocked another quote here, or comment here, from Vesodus, saying the problem arises when the screen is very small. The text in the game becomes unreadable unless the developers make tweaks and provide portable mode options to enlarge text and icons. Very true. Maybe I overlooked that about the screen size. I guess that's a lot more important than just saying, oh, I've got a big screen here to to play games on, and it's portable. There's another good one here actually from Solome Cal, and it says anything would be cool to play all the PlayStation games from PS1, 2, 3, and 4 era. But I hope it's nothing like the PS Portal. Don't get me wrong, I love my PS Portal, but internet connection or I lose connection is very frustrating. I agree, that'd be cool. Imagine even just a retro PlayStation handheld. I would love that. There's such a massive library of insane games on PS1 and PS2. I mean, sign me up. It actually is important because you might not be able to read the text. And then we've got, last but not least, System of a Dog. Vita was such a terrible name. Yeah, was it Vita is life? Vita means life. I think that is what it actually means in like Latin or Greek or something. But yeah, I agree. I don't think that was the best name either. Thank you everyone for commenting on this. The post for next week's podcast is already up already, so make sure you go and check that out about which PlayStation IP do you think needs a revival. So go and head over to Pure PSX on YouTube and go to the posts feed that used to be the community feed and dive in there and let me know, leave your comments, and we'll discuss that on next week's Gaming Coffee Club. Now let's get into some more game chat here on the Gaming Coffee Club, and we have got our PlayStation Plus monthly games for November. They have been announced. We have got to look forward to Stray, WRC 24, and Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. So 3 pretty good games there. Stray was on PS Plus Extra or Premium way back when it launched. Good game, really, really chilled. I think you should check this out. My pick, though, that you should play first is EA Sports WRC 24. I love a good rally game. The one thing that is a bit of a shame about this is it's running on Unreal Engine 5, so it's a bit janky, it's a bit juddery, like with the frame rates, which is really kind of annoying and bizarre, especially for a racing game, but it is still a lot of fun. And then Totally Accurate Battle Simulator. I'm sure I played this ages ago on the Switch and I can't even remember it. So I'll need to check this one out again. And in the meantime, make sure you claim your October games if you haven't already, because on the 3rd of November, they will disappear. So you've got Alan Wake 2, Goat Simulator 3, and Cocoon. Add them to your library so you can play them forever. Next up, we've got a PlayStation console exclusive, which was announced last week, kind of out of nowhere, and it is called Loulan, the Cursed Sand. And it looks really good. So I say console exclusive because it's only coming to PlayStation 5. It will be on Steam. And I think if you're a fan of the classic God of War games from way back in the kind of PS2, PS3 era, I think this might be right up your street. It looks really excellent. So the official blurb for the game says Loulan, the Cursed Sand is an action RPG set along the ancient Silk Road in the western regions of China. You play as the Cursed Sand, a skeletal warrior wielding the power of sand to explore the lost kingdom of Loulan, battle mighty foes, and seek your beloved princess. Also kind of gives me vibes of the first Prince of Persia games from back in the day. So what do we all think of this? If you're watching this on YouTube or on Spotify, let me know. It also looks pretty gory. There's an interview with the game director on the official PlayStation blog where he says, our core team is made up of veteran gamers born in the 80s and 90s. We grew up playing action games and we're deeply inspired by classics like the original God of War and arcade action games. Many of us have worked on action titles at studios in the US and Japan, including Santa Monica Studio, From Software, and Platinum Games. We are truly passionate about this genre and dedicated to pushing its boundaries. So that sounds good right there. Those 3 studios, that has got me even more interested in this game. Is this the sort of game you would like to check out on your PlayStation 5? Well, we don't have a launch date, but when we do, I'll let you know here on the channel. All we know is it's coming soon to PlayStation 5. Now, I've got a bunch of fun updates here for you on games, which I love, and I'm sure you do too. Vampire Survivors X Balatro. Yes, two of my favourite indie games are now mashing up together with this free update coming to Vampire Survivors. If you've not played Vampire Survivors or Balatro, I don't know what to tell you. They are both so addictive and so much fun. Check this out. It's a free download for Vampire Survivors, which is great. Usually DLC like this you'd think would be paid. It looks like they've taken all the jokers from Balatro and they're now in Vampire Survivors. Anti-Chamber it's called. I cannot wait to check this out on my PlayStation 5. It's available right now to download. And if you want to play this on your Portal via remote play, this game is fantastic on your Portal. Definitely check this one out. You will not be disappointed. Next up, we have got Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. This launched this week, and I wanted to bring this up because you can get this very cheaply, potentially. This is the latest and greatest version of Virtua Fighter 5. Upgraded 4K graphics. It's the first PS5 version of the game we've got. They've added in this world stage mode where you can fight across the world, unlock stuff for your character, level up, all that good stuff. You've got the nice juicy 4K graphics. The best part though is you can possibly get this for, well, for me it's £8 in the UK. I don't know the pricing in your region, but that is a huge discount. And you might be thinking, how do you get this big discount? Well, if you own the previous version of this game, and stick with me here because you might be like, I didn't buy that. The previous version of this game, which was called Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown, you get a big discount on the new version of the game. And I never bought the previous version of the game. It was a PlayStation Plus game. I'm pretty sure this was a PlayStation Plus Essential monthly game, so I claimed it. And now I am allowed to get this discount for this game, which I will be picking up because it's only £8. So make sure you check to see if you are applicable for this discount if you fancy playing Virtua Fighter 5 Revo World Stage. Now, I love my fighting games. I'm not good at them, but I just really enjoy them. And Fatal Fury City of Wheels is one of the ones which I've bought recently and I'm really enjoying. And there's a big update coming to this very soon for everyone, because no matter what version of the game you buy, you get access to the Season 1 pass. And the latest addition is Chun-Li from Street Fighter. The trailer is really good. There's a little nod, if you're a big fan of this, to the Capcom versus SNK 2000 reference there. You may have got that at the start. Really good. She looks amazing in this trailer. The moves look fantastic. Cannot wait to check this update out when it drops. I don't actually know when she's going live in the game. She may be live right now. This trailer just dropped literally yesterday. But it's really cool to see these legendary Street Fighter characters crossing over into Fatal Fury. Really advise you pick up this game if you're into your fighting games. The art style in it is fantastic. It's a lot of fun. The moves you can pull off, it is absolutely crazy. Now we're going to throw it back, way back, to another classic gaming franchise, which is Mortal Kombat. Because the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection has launched this week, and it's got pretty good reviews so far. 88 from Metacritic, that's the meta score. However, the user score has been bombing, and it's down to 5.4 here. This is only based on 14 user ratings, but you can look elsewhere and see the reviews. Why might this be? Well, this collection does look fantastic. It's got 11 games in the collection. It's like a total love letter to the franchise. There's also documentaries and tons of behind the scenes stuff. So if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, absolutely pick this one up. My backlog is crazy right now and I'm playing a bunch of games, so I will pick this one up later on. But the game is being slammed right now for shocking input latency. In particular, people on PlayStation 5 have been voicing this. So this is not good at all for a fighting game. You do not want input latency. So you press like punch or kick, and then a second later it does what you want it to do. So that is not good. Hopefully that gets fixed in an update patch very, very soon. Other than that though, this looks a fantastic package for Mortal Kombat fans. And if you need something Mortal Kombat to tide you over right now, Mortal Kombat 1 is available on PS Plus. It's well worth playing. Great game. Next up, we're over on Push Square, and finally, after 2 months, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is finally fixed on PlayStation 5 Pro, and it has also added a new free multiplayer update. What has been added? Well, based on the screenshot, I've not jumped into it since this update. I'll need to go and check it out myself. But they have added new graphics modes for the PS5 Pro. So you've got your performance mode, which is, prioritizing frame rate to ensure smooth motion and controls, and then quality, which is prioritizing graphics. So what is interesting here, even on these new consoles and the PS5 Pro, what is interesting even on these new consoles like PS5 Pro, in performance mode, the resolution dynamic 4K, which is max native 1080p, and in quality it's max native 1440p. Doesn't it feel like we were sold a bit of a lie by all these consoles at the start of this generation with 4K, native 4K and all this stuff? Like, I don't think there's really any games that run at native 4K really. But the new update looks fun. It reminds me of Prop Hunt from Call of Duty. Kind of blends hide and seek gameplay with competitive deathmatch. Just imagine running around as characters from Metal Gear Solid, hiding in boxes or in camouflage, and your opponents are trying to find you, and you can just pop out and shoot them in the head. It looks a lot of fun. One thing though is there's no cross-platform play, so hopefully wherever you're playing this, if you're playing on PlayStation, plenty of people jump in and try it and keep the gameplay busy. Now, I know Halloween's just passed, but if you're looking for something scary to play on your PlayStation, check out this next video on screen now. And if you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever, thank you so much. We'll see you here next week for more gaming news on the Gaming Coffee Club. Leave us a comment down below or a review. We would really, really appreciate that.